Welcome, viewers. This is Here and Now, June 7th, 2026. I'm Steve Struggle, and I'm joined with my co-conspirator, Dr. Abraham. How's it going?
Tired but strong. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
working on this show for a little while, working on some technical stuff, and we got it
And I was
ready for
thinking about
this.
that, like it's been 4 years that we've been broadcasting.
Yeah,
Yes.
here we go. We're trying to try and make sure we got to try and make it five.
Yeah.
So it's a lot been going on in the world, and Abraham, let's start with you in Canada.
Here now in Canada. Whoa. The biggest news here, Canada is so boring, really. Like no wars, no civil wars, no ice,
Well,
you know,
come on, man. Wait, whoa. You don't have any mad people, mass shootings, man. Come on.
no mass
I would,
shootings.
I would
Yeah.
like, I would like no mass shooting. We had a mass shooting yesterday in some festival in Ohio,
Wow. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, like, come on. I just want to go to the festival and have a little fun.
Yeah.
Some
Well, here
some
now in Canada, it's so different than the United States, like
it
the world
is.
perceives Canadians and Americans, to be the same.
Oh
But
no, 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 no. They're not the same. No, 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 no. That's not true.
uh,
No, no, no,
this
no, no.
really, yeah. And
No.
I mean, Canadians have a better reputation, okay.
Yes,
But
they do. I mean, well,
yeah, okay. But
yes.
culturally, Canadians are considered to be, like Westerners, okay. But, even though Canada is so close to the United States, it's so different at the same time. And the question is, why? What makes, like America, United States of America, so different from Canada? And how can it be changed? That's the question that's posed. And nobody, considers that question, like how come America became America? I mean, it's got its, violent past, okay? Canada didn't have as much slavery as the United States. Canada didn't do a systematic genocide of the First Nations.
Yeah, it did not. It did not. That's something I can say. The First Nations in Canada, in spite of all the issues that have to exist between First Nations and oppressor nations, I think they have. I just get a different sense of what's going on there. The United States is like, oh my God, you have to open a casino to get some money.
Hmm.
Woo, woo. You have to grovel, not grovel. You have to appeal to the lowest nature of some societies, gambling, to make money for the native tribes. That's not cool at all. It's not
Oh
good.
yeah, yeah, with the casinos set
Man,
up,
it's just,
in order to make some
yeah.
money generate some money for the reserves. Yeah.
Luckily,
Also, they're
after
big into they're into selling tobacco, at a discount rate, so that people can die faster.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
well, mm,
but there are parts of the country, like in Alaska, where the natural resources are extracted or worked on by the native corporations. So it's not all tobacco, and it's not all liquor, and not
uh,
all gambling.
casinos, yeah,
So um, I do need to be accurate about that.
yeah. Well, there was also like a victory here for the First Nations, at what's called Oka or Kanesatake, in which, the traditional lands, of the, including a cemetery, of the First Nations was going to be taken away somehow and turned into a golf course. You hear that? Golf course? Really, you know, with all the grass cut at the same height, like, that's, no, that didn't pass. They even sent the army in to try to stop the First Nations from occupying that territory so it couldn't be taken away from them. And then eventually, the military had to withdraw. We even had a peace camp out there to separate the military from the First Nations to stop them from it from attacking. And we did, and it worked. So Canada is so different than the United States. It's really incredible. It's something to be studied, like to figure out, like how the United States can take control of itself and become civilized. Yes, that's what Gandhi said about the Western civilization. Would be a good idea.
Yeah, I also think that even though this shouldn't be an issue, I still think that the winner take all method of capitalist democracy here hurts the United States and its people in so many ways.
Hmm,
Like once the president's in power, you can't get rid of the president. But
hmm.
if you have a parliamentary system, I can get rid of the head of, we can you can get rid of the head of the government. Yes, you can.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Um,
mean, here the prime minister is not even elected, you know.
yes, right. So
There's no
I mean,
direct
I
elections
think
for a prime minister. It's, because it's, we, well, we don't have effectively a king, a monarch. A president is just, a qualified monarch, a qualified king,
I agree. I agree with that. I
with
think that
limited powers. Yeah, that's
that
all.
is that's all. And so when they started the United States, they call it came from the United Kingdom, where you have a king and you have a parliament. And I
Hmm.
do think that the way it has been set up, you still have a king. That is called president.
Yeah,
Even though there
that's
are
right.
some limitations to what they can do, but there are no limitations. If they want to wipe out Canada,
Yeah,
I'm not saying if they want to wipe out a country, unless the military refuses to do it, and they can't make the military do it. Military can say we're not going to do it. They're not. They don't. They can't make them. I mean, how do you
hmm,
make the military do something? If the officers won't carry out the orders, that's
hmm,
it. No, really, because that's something to consider. That the military, I think it was something happened a few months ago, where Trump told somebody to attack somebody, and they said no. He was seriously it happened.
yeah,
He told somebody in the Joint Chiefs of Staff to press the button and give him the codes he could do something. They said, no, I'm not going to do it.
hmm,
And
hmm.
I don't think the head of the Department of Defense has the codes. He is not a military officer.
Yeah, uh-huh.
But I'm just saying, but you have a king. They kind of rule, they rule like, hey, I'm in charge and shut up.
Yeah. They just give it a different name, executive. What does it call it? Executive
Executive
order.
branch,
Yeah.
executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
here we don't have an executive branch. We have a cabinet, that
interesting.
is chosen from the political party that has the most seats, not even necessarily a majority, actually. And then they form a cabinet, and that same party chooses its own leader, who becomes the prime minister, not elected, but chosen by the party that has the power, which is, lousy, to begin with. But it's not, the same as electing a monarch as you do have in the United States, So that must be part of the problem for sure. Yeah. Get rid of the presidency. Yeah. Abolish the president. And then, yeah, we'll start to get somewhere, I think.
Actually, Huey Newton, before he died, wrote an article about that.
Oh,
He did. He abolished U.S. presidents. It's a very interesting article. Very little has been said about that article. Yeah, he wrote a paper about abolishing the U.S. presidency, and he won a commission, a council or something. Anyway, it was but that actually was proposed by the Black Panthers.
yeah. Yeah. And he's also Dr. Huey P. Newton. You referred me to his thesis, his doctoral thesis, way back when, and I read his doctoral thesis. He's an academic. He's a thinker, an analytical thinker. Yeah. Oh my. Okay. So, but the American people, that's another story. They have this rebellious streak in them that has an unlimited potential, unlimited revolutionary potential. Very impressive. I think you have a video that demonstrates this here now. Can you show that for us now?
Give me 1 second, please.
I think it took place in Los Angeles at a Home Depot store, an ice. Tried to pull off a raid there. Okay. And the people said no.
Yeah, so this is a um, video put out by the Community Self-Defense Coalition, the LA and San Diego area. And it is commemorating and showing some details about the June 6th, 2025 Battle of Los Angeles. And I'll start the video, and I think it should speak for itself.
My name is Ron Goches. I'm a member of Unión del Barrio. We're here in the parking lot of the Home Depot in Paramount, where the Battle of June 7th took place. So, everything started on June 7th in terms of like the Home Depot participation, complete complicity with the raids. But they say they have nothing to do with it. They say they don't know. But we don't see this happening at every Dunkin' Donuts. So we got a phone call early in the morning on June 7th that in this parking lot, in this area here, a customer was being kidnapped. It was a customer and their child was being kidnapped. Raids hadn't gotten massified yet, so everyone didn't know what was happening. 150 yards right next to the Home Depot is this complex here. Agents from the inside started to come out to basically back up the situation that was happening here. Point, people started calling Unión del Barrio at our hotline. Starting at about here, at this point, from here to the fence, the entrance where it says Paramount Business Center, completely a line of at least 100 Border Patrol agents. The people were already engaged in serious struggle. The people were engaged in serious resistance. One of the things that I guess we should thank the Home Depot, they were getting the carts from the Home Depot. That's where all the cinder blocks are. So then around here, they were breaking them, and that became the people's ammunition. Because on the other side, the Border Patrol agents shot thousands of canisters of tear gas, of those pepper spray balls. It looked like Palestine in the 90s. It looked like the West Bank. These factories are full of people. And I heard them saying, my mom's in there. My mom's in there. I'm not gonna let them take my mom. There was full combat. And I'm not exaggerating when I say combat. Fires here. And even when they ran out of ammunition, a helicopter from the Department of Homeland Security came and landed of more ammunition. If it was not for the LA County sheriffs who came in and surrounded the area, they would have gotten their asses kicked. But the hundreds of workers that were here that day, they went home that night to their families. And the only reason was because of the resistance. The Border Patrol left. And at 7 o'clock that same day, we remember Trump giving a live press conference saying that he had ordered the National Guard to come up from San Diego and the Marines to come up from Camp Pendleton. They thought they were gonna scare us, but no. If anything, more people in the coming days and weeks and months, more people than ever join the struggle. Never again in the LA area did the ICE agents or the Border Patrol agents ever attempt another large-scale operation like that day. So to mark the 1-year anniversary of the Battle of Paramount, continue supporting the Boycott Home Depot campaign. I want to invite people to June 6th, Saturday, June 6th. We're going to have an event here in front of the Home Depot where this went down. We invite you so we can commemorate who were able to successfully defend the hundreds of people who were not kidnapped that day, thanks to the glorious resistance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. That's not being covered by Fox News, I presume.
No, but I do want to say something. I have to add this just for historical accuracy. The people who were resisting were the day laborers and the workers inside Home Depot. They weren't the average person driving home to and from work, except those who drove to Home Depot to work.
Mhm.
This is a community. It's not poor. It's blue collar and pink collar. And those workers there would stand outside seeking work. With the way it used to operate, the refugees and the day laborers would congregate outside of Home Depot, and some still do. I mean, they would stand by the driveway coming in, and people would come there to find workers to do work let's say in their backyard or some work on their house. So they got to move something, they got to dig something up, and they would negotiate with these guys. It is mostly guys to work for them, and they would follow them to their house or to their business. They would do the work, they pay them, and the guys would come back to the Home Depot.
Mhm.
That's what the Home Depot. It was a makeshift day laborer center. And then
Mhm.
there was some official day laborer centers started by day laborer organizations. But
Mhm.
these kind of situations you saw at this Paramount and Compton Home Depot, where people were outside waiting for work. And that's how
Mhm.
they were able to grab people, because people were just outside waiting for people to drive up and work.
Uh,
And after that, apparently, when someone saw somebody getting molested by the ICE, I mean Border Patrol, they gave the word. See, let me say something else before I get started. Months before this, community activists had begun to organize ICE Watch or Border Patrol Watch groups, and hotlines were set up. You heard Ron talk about this hotline. So
yeah.
groups had hotlines, and you would call the hotline and report an ICE or Border Patrol gathering, and then people would go to the scene to resist or to document what was going on. So that was grassroots organizing 101. And people knew about the hotlines, and they probably still exist, because there's been some really vicious fights at the detention center in downtown LA where many of the migrants are being held. But not like this. There have been fights like this frequently down there, almost daily. But this was the one that got the news because people were taking on the Border Patrol and ICE, and they did not expect anybody to take them on. They,
Hmm.
they didn't expect it. There was no, it's never expected. But people can show you always expect the unexpected when it comes to people. If you're locking somebody up and taking away their rights, expect the unexpected, because people don't take too kindly to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. There's a story about Home Depot. Home Depot is owned by a Jewish guy who was probably a refugee himself. Okay. Whether it was before the Second World War or after. Okay. Now, and Home Depot is listed on the boycott list of BDS because they make some sort of donations, to Zionist cause or to some, Zionist organization or some Jewish organization. I don't know. The implication, may not be all that profound. Nonetheless, there is a link there. But Home Depot, provides jobs for refugees, protects the refugees from ICE, and they allow people to park in their parking lots overnight for people who sleep in their cars. And now it seems they're allowing, for day laborers to come and congregate, to find some bits of work here and there. So it's sort of a contradictory phenomenon, this Home Depot, but it's there and it's working, and it's protecting the refugees at the very least. So it's an interesting phenomenon. And ICE is out to get it. Well, it's not going to work. Yeah. But they're pumping more money into ICE all the time. They just, what if they got another allocation of some billions, in order to hire some more ICE agents with minimal training, but lots of arms. Well, that's uh, that's what the USA is all about, I guess. Here in Canada, like refugees have been cut back, and work permits for refugees has been cut back as well here. Here in Quebec, a lot of the French, previously Catholic, political culture here is trying to sort of retain its demographic balance of a vast majority of Quebecois are trying to sort of protect their cultural identity by refusing to allow in 60,000 immigrant workers. Now it's been cut back to 40,000 a year, even though the Council of Businessmen for Quebec says that they're missing 165,000 jobs, workers that they need here. So the ruling provincial party here called CAQ is into stopping immigration because it was increasing. Because a lot of people wanted to come here and work. So there is a problem here as well, but it's not, like United States, those people who are refugees or migrants here are not picked off from the street, and deported to some unknown place. That doesn't happen here in Canada. Yeah, it's so different here in Canada. It's incredible.
I don't think that people who don't see the videos could never imagine what is occurring in the United States with respect to this. They can never imagine because it's un I have a video which I can't show you that shows and it's really an insidious video. An ICE agent, okay, there is a branch of the government called the Postal Service here. And there's also private delivery companies, but the Postal Service is the main branch that delivers mail and some packages and other kind of items. Okay. Now they wear a uniform. If you're a US citizen, you know the uniform. It is a uniform of the post office. It's the one uniform, policeman's uniform, army uniform, post office uniform. People know those uniforms. Okay. But the ICE comes up in jeans and a cup and a jacket. A woman carrying a box to somebody's house, knock on the door. Police, postal service, we have a delivery for you. Around the corner from the house, the ICE agents are waiting to bust down the door and go inside the house and arrest people. Incredible.
Right.
Yes, I mean I have it on video. I'll show it to you. It's incredible. Now the video doesn't show it happening, but the point is, if you are knowledgeable of what the post office looks like, you know this is a scam. But that's how dumb they are. They probably can't get post. They probably are not allowed to wear the postal uniforms. That might be over the top because
Yeah.
they usually wear a mask, right? They wear a
Yeah.
mask. They wear a mask.
Hmm.
They wear a mask and have an ice vest on. This is an undercover operation to try and lure somebody outside their house to take the package and then be arrested. Incredible.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's the low to which they will go to make arrests.
So they're desperate. They're
They
desperate.
are
It's a
very
sign of
desperate.
desperation. Yeah.
The the government Führer for this movement is a man named Stephen Miller,
Oh, yeah.
a white racist from Santa Monica, California. Virulent racist against immigrants.
Mhm.
There are videos of him in high school. He's in his early 40s now or late 30s. In high school, being a virulent chauvinist toward immigrants on the bus going home. So he's been brewing for a long time, and he wants 3,000 arrested a day.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Because I say so. I'm the king. I'm the king thing. I'm the
Yeah.
king. I want 3,000. I want 3,000 arrested a day per day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that Stephen Miller, the head of staff, for the presidential office, has the greatest influence on Trump,
Well, he
even
might.
though, even though he and Hegseth, are the ones who are the principal
Well,
sort of manipulators of Trump, even
well,
though, the populist so-called left is saying that it's Netanyahu that tells Trump what to do.
well, that's not.
Like really, that's out of it.
Yeah. But the point about Miller and his crew is very important. I'm gonna say something that I can't verify. I doubt that they've read 3 books about American presidents because their influence is kind of unprecedented. They're
Yeah.
appointed by him. They're not cabinet. They're not um, voted on by Congress. The level of influence is exceptional that those two men have on Trump's thinking, and they're not even good at what they do. They're not
Oh, yeah.
even good at it.
You're right.
Okay.
That's a difference here because here the cabinet of the prime minister are all elected. They have to be elected into the House of Commons to
Yeah,
begin with.
they're
And then they
selected.
can be, chosen by the prime minister to be in the cabinet. Okay, but they have to be elected in the first place. And none of
some
this, executive, like are elected.
right, yeah. Guys like okay, Hexes is 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 elected by the Congress. I mean, they approve him, but they're
Oh, yes.
nominated
Okay.
by they approve him. But people like Miller and others are appointees,
Uh-huh.
and they have extreme influence on U.S. policy. Even the people who go to Lebanon and Israel and Russia for negotiations. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and
Mm.
his daughter. I mean, what's going on here? They just pick anybody to become advisors to a president. There's no requirement. There's no university degree required. There's no graduate study and so on, no experience in the field. Like,
Yeah.
have you done your background study? Have you been trained officially? Have you had some experience? No, he's picked any old jerk he wants. Same thing with Hexet. Hexet was a TV commentator.
Huh.
Yeah, TV
Yeah.
commentator like Trump, like Zelensky.
Yeah.
These TV stars become cabinet level or presidents of countries.
I
Same
don't think
thing.
any of these people have had any significant educational
Oh
background, have
no. Oh, absolutely. No. Oh no. Don't even go there. I could I could lecture all day about that in the United States.
they?
They stress training, they stress educational background. When it comes to it, they pick their friends, they pick
Yeah.
their cronies, they pick their lapdogs, and that's what they have over you in charge. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's America as it's called, even though Canada is part of the American North American continent, but we're not America.
They are a non-NATO ally. Officially, Canada is a non-NATO ally. That's what it's
Oh,
called. A non, no, oh no,
well,
no, excuse me. Canada is a NATO ally. Excuse me. That's not correct. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I think we're in NATO, and we're also in NORAD, which
Yeah.
is a Canada-US military pact of some kind. Who
How
knows
about
what's included in that, but
the Five Eyes? Is it
yeah.
Canada, New Zealand, Australia? Who else?
The British Commonwealth, that's what it is. The old
What is
British
good point?
Commonwealth is still there, and the United States is still in the British Commonwealth.
The Five Eyes.
Yeah. Oh well, okay. We'll take care of that. Just give us some time.
Yeah,
Time to revolutionize the world.
so there was a demonstration again. I can't show a demonstration in Israel of our allies, the traditional brothers who have the locks and the hats. What's their name? Orthodox.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Orthodox Hasidim, yes.
yeah,
Demonstrating
the
against the draft.
demonstration. No, in Israel against the forced recruitment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
against the draft there. Yeah, yeah, they're really, yeah.
yeah.
That's they even went to the official who's responsible for the draft, and they start to ransack his home. They took over his home and damaged his home, and the police couldn't stop them. They were so numerous. They just took over. Incredible. Yeah, they're not going to go fight and die. Like as I mentioned before, these guys, they'd rather die than kill anybody. So, they're Judaic. They're not Zionists, and they demonstrate the difference between being Jewish and being a Zionist, for sure. Being a Zionist means being a Christian, because Zionism was invented by Christianity to get rid of the Jewish people from the so-called Christian nation states, which is the West, one after the other. Even Canada, after the Second World War, they wouldn't allow Jewish refugees in, except for my parents, because my father had a sister here who was already a citizen and sponsored us. But the other Jewish refugees, were not allowed in. So they were forced and manipulated into going to Palestine, where they were controlled and their children were turned into fanatics. Yeah, It's sad, sad state of affairs. But the war is continuing. Iran's not giving up. Iran doesn't have to give up. Hezbollah doesn't have to give up because they're stronger than ever. And Lebanon, uh, negotiations direct with Israel, in effect, um, providing, official recognition of the state of Israel without Israel being required to recognize the state of Palestine. Lebanon is being led by the Maronite politicians. Who are the Maronites? The Maronites are members of the Maronite Church. It's a Christian sect, and it doesn't come from the Middle East. It doesn't come from the Orient. The Maronite Church was set up by the Crusaders who stayed there. They came, took over territory, set up, their own establishments, their own forts, like the Beaufort uh, fort. That's just been taken over by the Zionist IDF. This is a Crusader fort called Beaufort. Beaufort means a beautiful fort in French because it comes from the French Crusaders. And now the new Crusaders are installed themselves there, making themselves a worthy target, at the same time. They don't know what they're getting into. So the Maronites, who are the descendants of the original Crusaders, are the ones who are controlling Lebanon right now. And they want to suppress Hezbollah, but they can't. And now they're trying to substitute the Lebanese army, for Hezbollah in the south. So they sent the army down there. And what did Israel do? They bombed the Lebanese army, which are supposed to be substituting for Hezbollah. So they're destroying their own strategy. It's really pathetic. They're going to be expelled once again for sure. The Zionist military has tried to occupy southern Lebanon 7 times. And in 1982, they got so far as Beirut, and they allowed the Phalangists, another Christian sect, to go into the refugee camps of Sabra Shatila, where 3,000 were massacred in 3 days, 1,000 per day, by hand, like with knives, so as to keep quiet. And Israel just, protected them and planned it all with them. General Sharon, he met with Ubeki at the cafe and they planned it out. I have it all written up in my book, Sabra Shatila, which is now going to be translated into Arabic because it seems it's the best book on the Sabra Shatila massacre available. So it's being translated into Arabic right now. And my other book, The Federation of Palestinian and Hebrew Nations, is being translated into Bengali right now. It's already been translated into Arabic. And the English edition is there. So there's all that material that's available to be used to build a movement. So I'm pretty tired today, Steve. I don't really have anything more to contribute. So we can just
let me just mention to our viewers what we're going to be doing more of. This week we're going to work on clearing up some tech issues on sharing videos. There's a lot more I want to share this week, but we have some tech issues. But so expect more videos from around the world to show you what's going on, more on the scene reporting. And by next week, I'm sure we'll have it all taken care of.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Okay, so that's it for us now. This is Dr. Abraham speaking here with Steve Stroil, and we ask you to remember to think, analyze, and act, and share. Share our work here and our analysis that we put forward for movement building strategies. And that's it for now, I guess.